All right, getting another shave in today. Sample Sunday. So today we're using Zingari Man, and we're using the new #1 scent that was made in collaboration with Byron Parfums. So this is a original fragrance, not a dupe, and it was obviously done with the artisan perfumer Byron. And so it's in the Sego base. You can see there's just a little bit in there. I already scooped some out and put it in my bowl. So to me, this is reminiscent of the Shaving Shop Club's Amber Rose. And I just recently got rid of Amber Rose. And it's not because I didn't like it. I could appreciate the scent. But to me, they both kind of smell like old ladies at Catholic church. And I think it's just because of like the musky rose. I got some pressed into the Lancaster bowl there. But so it's kind of like a dark, like mysterious scent. I feel like there's incense in both. Obviously, I don't know the scent notes in #1. I do know the scent notes in Amber Rose, and it was rose, incense, tobacco, and amber. And obviously, I don't think these are, dupes or even inspired by each other. But immediately, that's where my brain went, that they smell similar. Now, I know for a fact this one has rose in it. Zingari's #1 has rose in it. I don't know if it has incense, but I kind of get a similar vibe to that, and to me it just kind of smelled like, I don't know, old ladies in Catholic church. I grew up Catholic, and it just immediately I was like, oh, that's familiar. Not something I would necessarily want to smell like, but not a bad fragrance either, I can enjoy it for what it is, but not something that I would generally want to smell like. And thank God this sample came with my blacksmith order, because I would have definitely dropped the money on this just because I'm a supporter of Heather's, and I was excited for the collaboration. So we're going to be using the Lancaster brush yet again with the V1 Lancaster Badger knot that I am quickly becoming a huge fan of, as well as the just the ergonomics of this Lancaster handle. I'm really, really enjoying it. So, this is one weird thing I've noticed over the days. I don't know if this will capture it, but right here, it almost looks like this part has gelled and the whole rest of it just hasn't quite got there yet. Just something I've noticed over the few uses that I've had. It's like, what is that clump right there? But it looks like there's like one jelly part and the rest isn't. But the whole thing is very soft. Like, I'm really, really enjoying it. So let's get started. Now, another thing, like I said, I would have just blind bought this #1 fragrance. Not only because, I'm a supporter of Heather's, I really like what she does, but I'm a big fan of this trend of the artisan soap makers collaborating with artisan perfumers. And, I want to nurture that that scene as well. I want to make sure that, that sort of camaraderie keeps happening, because I really do like that. I know Frank at Strike Gold has been doing a little bit of that with Happy Land. Declaration Grooming has been doing it with Chantilly Lux. And I'm sure others have as well. I know APR has been in on many collaborations themselves. So that's just something that I like seeing in the community, getting those really complex and thought-provoking scents that come from artisan perfumers. That's awesome. I like that shit. And this, of course, is whipping up nicely. I didn't overload the Sego base because If you load it like normal, you're going to be just adding tons and tons of water. If you underload it and then add water like you normally would any other soap, you kind of reach that consistency a lot quicker. So awesome stuff. So let's go ahead and get some water on the face. Scent strength on this is probably a 4 or 5. It's present, so that's a thumbs up for me. I like that. I like that it's there. I wish some of the other offerings were like this. I know the Soloist is probably the strongest Zingari one that I've had since, and I love that scent, so that's awesome. But kind of the rest of the line is kind of in that like 3 to 4 kind of scent strength. Not a big fan about that, but to each their own, right? All right. But like I was saying, this Lancaster brush is kind of quickly ascending the ranks here. The knot on it is reminiscent to my Hair Force 1 knot from Strike Gold Shave, and that currently is my favorite badger knot in the den. And this is reminiscent to that, so it's really kind of climbing the ladder on my favorite brushes. Obviously, it's a kind of a plain and simple color scheme. It's just kind of got this like ivory color to it, but the handle shape and design itself fits comfortably in my hand, and those one-of-a-kind flutes on it are freaking awesome, and I really, really dig those. All right. Now, last night I missed the Zingari and Chris Bailey lather battle, but I caught the replay this morning with breakfast, and that was a good watch. That was funny. If you guys still have time to catch it on the Instagram replay, so I would definitely recommend checking it out, because man, that was funny. Looks like some good times were had. One of the few times that I think a guest probably had more to drink than Heather, so that's always good to watch. Heather was keeping it somewhat conservative and professional while sipping on her red wine, and CDB was definitely getting down on some scotch, I believe it was, and oh man, he was a riot. Definitely a good live, and something that probably will brighten your day. You get a couple laughs out of it. Alright, that'll probably be good enough for my uses. Back to the straight razor. I want to master this thing. Alright, this is of course Scales by Osiris Bladeworks, and and the blade is a vintage Solingen made blade by the maker Kukri. And I am really enjoying this learning curve with straight razors. The blade still feels quite soft. shouldn't say soft, I should say smooth. The blade still feels quite smooth. I'm trying to do as much as I can with my dominant hand, so getting just about to the midway mark, maybe a little bit more. All right, took off all kinds of stuff there. Now for the gross factor. You can see all the little black dots and everything, hopefully. All right, left hand. Looking good, looking pretty good. Did I go against the grain on the first pass? Oh shit. Well, it went smooth regardless if I did. Can't even remember now. This part over here is still pretty beat up from the other day, but we'll kind of try to be ginger going over that. Alright. That should be alright. It turns out it looks like I was going against the grain on the first pass. Or at least I think I did. We're going to try to go with the grain, so. Kind of try to reset my grip here. All right. All right. Not too bad. Obviously, I don't talk as much with the straight razors while I'm shaving, because it's really something that I need to give my undivided attention on, if at all possible. I don't know if I mentioned this, but David from So Sharp David, he mentioned that when I showed my razor and I was asking what kind of grind people thought it was, he mentioned he thought it might be a full hollow, and he kind of showed on his video something similar. So I'm just gonna run with that because he knows a hell of a lot more than me about straight razors. And since it wasn't listed when I bought it, I personally have no idea. I just kind of figured, I think a wedge is kind of like the more thicker grind, so I was assuming it wasn't a wedge. I just didn't know where in the spectrum of hollows it was, you know. go ahead and lather up and get a second pass in, even though I think I went against the grain, at least on my neck on the first pass, but everything went smooth, so there's that. Go ahead and gather some more lather here. Scent strength is still there. It's still apparent, which is nice. And like I said, I can appreciate this scent. It brings back, memories of my childhood. But it's just not something that I would want to walk around smelling like. I don't think it fits my personality or my kind of wheelhouse of fragrances. I can appreciate it for what it is, but not something that I would go running to grab. Now, that's not to say it's not a nice scent, because I think a lot of people will enjoy this, but just not for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Can't like every scent that comes out, Alright, that should do it. Got a little itch. Alright, back to this. Straight, and now we're going against the grain. And I think somebody told me, because a lot of times I go like 1 and 1, 1 over, 1 under. Somebody told me to do 2 on top, maybe for more control. It's worth a try. So next I should try the 3-minute shave challenge with a straight, right? For tomorrow's shave. That would be a fucking disaster. Alright. We'll go against the grain again. On the neck. We'll do the little 2-finger. Just to see. I definitely see what they mean when they say kind of gives you more control with those 2 fingers on top. I get it. It feels very stable in the hand. I don't think I was having any issues with the 1 finger on top, but I could feel the steady, how it steadies the hand a little bit with that 2 on top. I think just having more fingers on the blade in general kind of makes sense that you would have more control. I don't know, just a thought. Now, it is a square point, but I'm pretty positive the point is muted, because when I do stuff like that, where I'm really using the point to get further out, you would imagine I would stick myself. And I'm not sticking myself, so I'm thinking the very point is muted. And I'm totally alright with that. A lot of people, they point beginner straight razor shavers towards the round point, just so that you don't stick yourself. And I did stick myself over here the other day on the other video. So, there's definitely that. Okay, what am I doing? There we go. Going against the grain, Derek. Alright. having kind of a difficult time getting my opposite hand to rotate to a point where the heel gets there. Just not comfortable, you know, with the full range of motion yet. And that's alright. I mean, it's going to take time, right? You just clean off the blade. I seem to clean off the blade after I finish a quadrant of my face. I don't know. Probably not necessary, but it just kind of feels right to clean it off after I do a cheek or after I do 1/4 of my neck. Still gonna catch me trying to figure out my grips and whatnot every now and then. Still a beginner, relatively, you know. Alright. Just kind of clean up that neckline. That feels pretty smooth. Can't lie. Or I could lie, but I'm not gonna lie. Feels pretty smooth. And one thing, you know, after the camera's off and the aftershave has had time to soak in, and I'm just sitting down and I give my neck a feel, I notice that my neck feels very like smooth and soft, and it's almost that feeling that you've had a great shave. And I'm feeling that after every straight razor shave. Obviously, I've got a couple weepers along the way, but everywhere else, you know, that were weeper free, they have been very comfortable and soft as a result. And I cannot lie, I am enjoying these straight razor shaves, man. So comfortable. I'm enjoying the challenge, learning again, because even if you buy a new razor that you've never used before, a DE or an SE or something, I kind of already know generally how a DE works. I know how a Schick injector works. I know how a gem works. And when you get a new one, there is a kind of a short adjustment period, but since you already know how they work, most of the learning curve is already taken care of. So I'm enjoying this like new challenge, because straights are their own, you know, their own style of shaving. So a whole new learning curve comes with that. And I've been really enjoying that. I'm happy that I referred these Lancaster towels to people, and a few people went out and purchased them and enjoyed it. It's always nice when your referral turns into another happy customer. Obviously, I have nothing. I'm not affiliated at all with Lancaster, but I am kind of a fanboy of Lancaster. And I gotta say that Andre's a great dude and has became a friend over the course of my my time interacting with him. So you could take every compliment that I give to Lancaster with a grain of salt, but I will say, see for yourself, and then, you know, and then judge me on my compliments. Now, the Sego base performed fantastic as usual. I really suggest maybe loading a little bit light with the Sego base. That way, because if you load it like you do most other soaps, you're gonna end up just adding water for ages. But if you load a little bit light, you'll end up kind of just adding the normal amount of water. And at least for me, I had plenty enough for my shave. Just something you can experiment with. Excuse me. Something you can experiment with, and if it doesn't work for you, you know, don't do it. But something you could at least try. So I'm going to be using Strike Gold Shave's Haberdasher, which is kind of a dark barbershop, a warm barbershop. And they don't smell at all alike, but I think they could complement each other, because this one kind of has like a warm vibe to it, and there might even be incense in here. I'm not 100% sure, but when I opened it and kind of gave it a smell, I was like, I don't think they'll clash or conflict all that much. They're different, but I don't think they will conflict with each other scent-wise. Go ahead and get a little bit for the cheeks here. All right, that'll pretty much wrap it up for me. I might put a little bit of Zingari balm on after this, just because I don't think these are very heavy on skin food. They're more of kind of the old school splashes, whereas it's just kind of an astringent and fragrance, kind of like the fine splashes. So there's still a place for that in wet shaving. I'm not complaining whatsoever. I'll just throw a balm on afterwards and I'll be ready. I'll be good to go. So no complaints there. Zingari's No.1 in Sego, Strike Gold's Haberdasher aftershave. I used my Osiris Bladeworks /Kukri Solingen German blade, 11/16 full hollow, I'm assuming. Lancaster brush, whoops, here we go. Lancaster brush, Lancaster bowl, fantastic items. Lancaster towel, of course. That'll do it for me. Have a good Sunday. Have fun with your guys' samples and your sample Sundays. And if you haven't tried the Sego base, give it a shot. If you haven't checked out that Instagram live with Heather and Chris Bailey, check that out. It was a good laugh. It was a good time. And that's it for me, guys. I'm out of here. Have a good one.